Hey there, history buffs. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of law. Law is a complex and diverse field that has evolved over thousands of years. It's a fascinating subject that touches upon many aspects of human society, from politics to economics, and from culture to religion. Law is often seen as a product of human civilization, but it's important to note that it's not just a human invention. In fact, many animal species have their own set of rules and norms that govern their behavior. For example, some primates have been observed to have their own form of law, with certain individuals acting as judges or enforcers. The history of law is a fascinating topic, and it's one that has shaped our world in countless ways. From the ancient codes of Hammurabi to the modern constitutions of today, law has played a pivotal role in shaping human society. The Bill of Rights, also known as the United States Constitution's first 10 amendments, was a crucial step in securing individual freedoms and civil liberties in the newly formed United States. It was proposed by James Madison in 1789 and ratified by the states in 1791. The Bill of Rights is divided into 5 sections, each focusing on a different aspect of individual freedom. The first section, known as the Rights of the People, covers freedom of speech, press, religion, and assembly. The second section, Rights of the People against the States, protects against unreasonable searches and seizures, self-incrimination, and double jeopardy. The third section, Rights of the People against the federal government, ensures a fair trial, protection against cruel and unusual punishment, and the right to a speedy trial. The fourth section, Rights of the People against the federal government, addresses the right to a jury trial, protection against excessive fines and bail, and the right to a fair trial. The fifth section, Rights of the People against the federal government, ensures that no one can be forced to serve in the military without a fair trial. So there you have it, folks. The Bill of Rights is a cornerstone of American democracy, and its history is a testament to the importance of individual freedoms and civil liberties.
Black Codes were a series of laws enacted by southern states in the United States after the Civil War. These laws were designed to restrict the rights of newly freed African Americans, effectively turning them into second-class citizens. The Black Codes restricted African Americans' right to vote, hold public office, serve on juries, and own firearms. They also imposed a range of other restrictions, such as requiring African Americans to carry freedom papers at all times and prohibiting them from leaving their jobs without permission. It's crucial to understand the Black Codes and their impact on American history, as they helped to lay the foundation for the Jim Crow laws that followed.
Also known as Roman law, has a rich and complex history that dates back to ancient Rome. It was developed by the Roman jurists and scholars who studied and analyzed the legal traditions of the ancient world. These scholars, known as the jurists, were responsible for codifying and systematizing the legal principles that would later become the foundation of civil law. One of the most influential jurists was Gaius, who wrote the Institutes of Gaius, a comprehensive treatise on Roman law that became a standard text for centuries. The Institutes were written in the 2nd century AD and were the first systematic exposition of Roman law. Over time, civil law spread throughout Europe, becoming the basis for the legal systems of many countries. It's a testament to the enduring influence of ancient Rome on modern law. Let's start with a quick overview of the Articles of Confederation, which came before the Constitution. Before the Constitution, the 13 original states were governed by the Articles of Confederation, adopted in 1781. This system created a weak central government, unable to tax or enforce laws effectively. It was a system that proved inadequate, especially during economic struggles and internal unrest like Shays' Rebellion 1786-87. Now, let's move on to the Constitutional Convention held in Philadelphia in 1787. This gathering of delegates from 12 of the 13 states, Rhode Island was the only holdout, was tasked with drafting a new constitution to replace the Articles of Confederation. The Constitutional Convention, led by George Washington, was a historic event that ultimately led to the creation of the U.S. Constitution, which we know and love today.
This system, which emerged in the late 19th century, saw the exploitation of thousands of African American prisoners in the South. Convict leasing was a system in which prisoners were leased out to private companies for labor. This practice rose after the end of the Civil War and the abolition of slavery. The convict leasing system was a way for Southern states to maintain a labor force without having to rely on the federal government or the freed slaves. This system was brutal and inhumane, with prisoners often working in dangerous conditions for long hours, with little to no pay. Many died from overwork, malnutrition, or disease. This practice continued until the early 20th century, when it was finally outlawed.
Courts have been an integral part of human society for thousands of years. The earliest known courts were held in ancient Mesopotamia, where judges sat on raised platforms to hear cases. In ancient Greece, courts were an essential part of the democratic system where citizens gathered to make decisions on legal matters. In medieval Europe, courts were often held in castles with a king or queen presiding over the proceedings. This period also saw the emergence of the jury system, where a group of citizens would be selected to decide on the guilt or innocence of a defendant. The modern court system, with its emphasis on due process and the rule of law, has its roots in the 18th century. The American Revolution and the French Revolution both played a significant role in shaping the courts we know today. The criminal justice system has come a long way, from ancient codes to modern legal frameworks. It's a testament to the evolution of law, punishment, and social order in human societies. From vengeance and tribal justice to institutions focused on rehabilitation, fairness, and the rule of law, the system has undergone a remarkable transformation. Let's kick off our journey with Mesopotamia, circa 2100 to 1750 BC. One of the earliest legal codes, the Code of Ur-Nammu, was established during this time. This ancient code laid the foundation for the legal systems we know today. As we continue our exploration, we'll uncover the intriguing history of the criminal justice system and its impact on our world. Stay tuned for more fascinating insights. Criminal law has its roots in ancient times, dating back to the early civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and China. The earliest known criminal codes were found in the Hammurabi Code, which dates back to 1750 BC. These codes outlined specific punishments for various crimes, such as theft, murder, and adultery. Over time, criminal law evolved to become more complex and nuanced. In the Middle Ages, European countries developed their own criminal codes, often influenced by religious beliefs. The modern criminal justice system, as we know it today, emerged in the 19th century with the rise of industrialization and urbanization. Today, criminal law is a complex and ever-evolving field, with new challenges and developments arising all the time.
Jeopardy, also known as bis jeopardy, is a legal principle that protects individuals from being tried twice for the same crime. It's a crucial aspect of our legal system that ensures justice is served fairly and efficiently. The concept of double jeopardy dates back to the 12th century, when it was first mentioned in the English legal system. It was officially established in the United States in 1857 with the case of Wade v. Hunter. This case set the precedent that an individual cannot be tried twice for the same crime, even if the first trial resulted in a mistrial. This legal principle has evolved over time, but its core remains the same, ensuring that individuals are not subjected to multiple trials for the same crime.
Process rights, also known as procedural justice, have been a cornerstone of our legal system for centuries. The concept was first introduced in ancient Greece, where it was known as isonomia or equality before the law. Over time, due process rights have evolved and expanded, ensuring fair treatment and equal protection under the law for all individuals. From the Magna Carta in 1215 to the Bill of Rights in 1791, the concept of due process has been a crucial part of our legal system. So, the next time you hear about due process rights, remember their rich history and the important role they play in our society. The Bible, which is a collection of ancient texts, is a significant source of religious and moral guidance for many people around the world. It's important to note that the Bible's laws were developed over time, with some dating back to ancient times and others being added later. The Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, contains the core laws of Judaism. These laws cover a wide range of topics, including religious practices, social norms, and ethical principles. They were developed over centuries and reflect the cultural and historical context of the time. The Old Testament, which includes the Torah, contains many other laws as well. These laws cover a variety of topics such as dietary restrictions, ritual purity, and the treatment of slaves. The New Testament, which was written centuries after the Torah, introduces new laws such as the Ten Commandments and the teachings of Jesus. These laws are meant to guide the early Christian community and emphasize love, compassion, and forgiveness. In summary, the history of laws and the Bible is a fascinating journey through time, reflecting the cultural, historical, and religious context of the people who developed them.
Sharia, derived from the Arabic word for path or way, is a set of moral, spiritual, and legal guidelines based on the Quran, the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, and the consensus of early Muslim scholars. Sharia law has its roots in the 7th century, when the Islamic prophet Muhammad and his followers established a new community in Medina. Over time, this community developed a legal system based on the Quran and the teachings of the prophet. This system, known as Sharia, became the foundation for the legal system in the Muslim world. Sharia law covers a wide range of topics, from personal and family matters to criminal and civil law. It's important to note that Sharia is not a static, rigid system but rather a living, evolving body of law that adapts to changing times and circumstances.
Did you know that the first known goal was built in ancient Babylon around 1700 BC? It was a simple, open-air structure with a single room and a guard. Fast forward to the 18th century, and we see the rise of the infamous debtors' prisons. These institutions were designed to force people to pay their debts by locking them up until they did. In the 19th century, Gauls evolved to become more humane and rehabilitative. This was a time of reform, with the introduction of separate prisons for men and women, and a focus on education and work programs. Today, prisons have evolved even further, with a focus on rehabilitation and reducing
These
recidivism.
unique institutions have played a crucial role in society for centuries. Halfway houses, also known as halfway houses or transitional living facilities, have been around since the 18th century. They were originally established to provide a safe and supportive environment for former prisoners as they reintegrated into society. These houses were typically run by private individuals or charitable organizations. Over time, the purpose of halfway houses has evolved. Today, they serve as a crucial stepping stone for individuals transitioning from incarceration, rehabilitation, or other institutions back into the community. They provide a structured environment that helps residents develop life skills, find employment, and reintegrate into society. The Book of Judges, found in the Hebrew Bible and Christian Old Testament, is a collection of tales about the Israelites' struggles to establish a stable society in the Promised Land. These stories span a period of about 250 years, from the death of Joshua to the rise of the monarchy under Saul. The judges themselves were a diverse group of individuals, ranging from military leaders like Deborah and Gideon to prophets like Samuel. They were instrumental in shaping the early Israelite society, and their stories provide valuable insights into the ancient world. Juries have been around for centuries, dating back to ancient Greece and Rome. In these early civilizations, juries were made up of ordinary citizens who served as a check on the power of the rulers. Fast forward to the 12th century, and juries began to emerge in England. These early juries were known as juries of presentment, and their role was to present information to the king or his officials. In the 13th century, juries took on a new role, to serve as a check on the power of the king. This was a significant development, as it marked the beginning of the separation of powers in England. By the 17th century, juries had become an essential part of the English legal system. They were responsible for deciding the guilt or innocence of the accused, and their role in the legal system has continued to evolve over time.
Did you know that in the 18th century, alcohol was legal for all adults, but in the 19th century, it was banned for anyone under 21? This shift in legislation was due to the rise of alcoholism and its negative impact on society. In the 20th century, laws began to focus on the harmful effects of alcohol, leading to the creation of the 21st Amendment, which repealed the 18th Amendment and legalized alcohol again. This amendment also paved the way for the modern regulatory system we have today. As we move into the 21st century, laws surrounding addictions continue to evolve, with a focus on prevention, treatment, and harm reduction. It's fascinating to see how our understanding of addictions and the laws surrounding them have changed over time.
These laws, dating back to ancient Egypt, were a set of spiritual and philosophical principles that governed the lives of the Egyptian people. Hermetic laws were rooted in the belief that the universe was a harmonious, interconnected whole, and that humans could tap into this harmony through their thoughts, actions, and emotions. These laws emphasized the importance of personal responsibility, self-discipline, and the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom. One of the key principles of Hermetic laws was the concept of the as above, so below, the idea that what happens in the heavens is reflected on earth, and vice versa. This belief was used to explain the cycles of nature, the movement of the stars, and the workings of the human mind. Did you know that there was a time when reading and writing were actually illegal? It's true. In the early days of civilization, only a select few were allowed to read and write. This was primarily due to the fear of the masses gaining knowledge and power. The elites, who were the only ones who could read and write, wanted to maintain their control over society. They believed that if everyone could read and write, it would threaten their authority. But fear not, history lovers. Over time, literacy laws were gradually abolished, and the world became a more open and knowledgeable place. Now, everyone has the right to read and write, and it's a fundamental human right. One of the earliest written legal codes, created by King Hammurabi to legitimize divine kingship and establish the king as the source of justice. Law was a tool of top-down power and hierarchy. Machiavelli's laws of power revolve around the idea that in order to maintain control and influence, individuals must be skilled in the art of deception and manipulation. He believed that in order to achieve success, one must be willing to break the rules and even the moral code if necessary. However, it's important to note that these laws are not a universal truth, but rather a reflection of Machiavelli's time and the political climate he was living in. Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, published in 1687. Newton's laws of motion describe the relationship between force, mass, and acceleration and form the basis of classical mechanics. The first law, also known as the law of inertia, states that an object will remain at rest or continue to move at a constant velocity unless acted upon by an external force. The second law, which is perhaps the most well-known, states that the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the force applied and inversely proportional to its mass. The third law, also known as the law of action and reaction, states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. These laws have had a profound impact on our understanding of the physical world and have been used to explain a wide range of phenomena, from the motion of planets to the behavior of particles. Michel Foucault, power is everywhere embedded in institutions, language, norms. Law isn't just about punishment, it shapes how we behave and think. Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, 1998. A modern, psychological approach to how power works in personal and political settings, though not based in legal tradition. The laws of living, also known as the laws of nature, are a set of principles that govern the behavior and interactions of living organisms. These laws have been studied and documented by scientists and philosophers throughout history, from Aristotle to Charles Darwin. Some key principles of the laws of living include the principle of homeostasis, which states that living organisms maintain a stable internal environment despite changes in the external environment. Another important law is the principle of adaptation, which explains how organisms adapt to their environment over time. These laws, which were first introduced in the 19th century, were created to regulate the behavior of individuals in society. The first law, the law of love, emphasizes the importance of compassion and empathy in our interactions with others. The law of labor encourages hard work and dedication, while the law of learning promotes the pursuit of knowledge and education. The law of marriage focuses on the importance of commitment and fidelity in relationships, while the law of parenting highlights the responsibility of raising children. The law of labor promotes honesty and fairness in business dealings. The law of citizenship stresses the importance of civic duty and patriotism, and the law of religion emphasizes the role of faith and spirituality in our lives. The laws of living have been instrumental in our understanding of the natural world and the evolution of life on Earth. So, next time you're out in nature, take a moment to appreciate the intricate laws that govern the lives of all living things. Did you know that the first known lawyer in history was an Egyptian scribe named Hesira, who lived around 3000 BC? He was responsible for drafting legal documents and settling disputes. Fast forward to ancient Greece, and we see the emergence of the first professional lawyers. These legal experts, known as logographers, played a crucial role in the legal system. They were responsible for drafting legal documents, representing clients in court, and providing legal advice. In the Roman Empire, lawyers were known as advocates. They were highly respected members of society, often working alongside judges to ensure justice was served. In the Middle Ages, the role of lawyers evolved. They became known as jurists, responsible for interpreting and applying the law. Throughout history, lawyers have played a vital role in society, ensuring justice is served and protecting the rights of individuals. So, the next time you see a lawyer, remember the rich history behind their profession.
The motion of discovery is a crucial tool used by lawyers to gather information about a case, such as documents, witness statements, and other evidence. This practice dates back to the early days of the common law system, where it was known as the motion in forma pauperis. In the 19th century, it was renamed the motion of discovery, and its purpose remained the same: to help lawyers uncover the truth. The motion of discovery is a vital part of the legal process, and its history is a testament to the importance of gathering evidence and ensuring a fair trial for all parties involved.
Know that oaths have been a part of human history for thousands of years. Oaths have been used in various cultures and societies throughout history, often as a way to seal a deal, confirm a promise, or swear allegiance to a cause or person. The ancient Greeks, for example, used oaths to confirm treaties and agreements. In the Bible, we see oaths used in both the Old and New Testaments. In modern times, oaths are still used in legal contexts, such as when a witness takes the stand in court. They're also commonly used in sports, such as when athletes swear to compete fairly and honestly. Oaths have evolved over time, but their core purpose remains the same: to bind people together in a shared commitment. It's fascinating to think about how these ancient traditions continue to shape our world today. As we know it today, was first introduced in the United States in the late 1800s. It was a radical departure from the harsh punishments of the past and a step towards rehabilitation and reintegration of offenders into society. The concept of parole was born out of a recognition that imprisonment alone was not enough to address the root causes of crime. By allowing early release for good behavior, parole aimed to provide a second chance for those who had served their time and demonstrated their commitment to change. Fast forward to today, parole remains a key component of criminal justice systems around the world. It's a testament to the evolving nature of our legal systems and a reminder that justice is not just about punishment, but also about rehabilitation and redemption.
Did you know that plantations have been around for thousands of years? They were first established in ancient Egypt, where they were used for growing crops and raising livestock. In the 16th century, plantations started to emerge in the Americas, primarily for growing sugarcane and tobacco. These plantations were often owned by wealthy landowners and operated by enslaved laborers. The plantation system played a significant role in the development of the American South, but it also had a dark side, as it was built on the backs of enslaved people.
Probation, as we know it today, has its roots in the 18th century. The concept was first introduced in England, where it was called probation of office. This system allowed individuals to serve as apprentices before becoming full-fledged members of a profession. Fast forward to the 19th century, and probation took on a new meaning. In the United States, probation was used as a way to rehabilitate individuals who had committed crimes. It was seen as a more humane alternative to incarceration, and it allowed individuals to serve their sentences while living in their communities. Over the years, probation has evolved and expanded, becoming a vital part of our criminal justice system. It's a testament to the power of rehabilitation and the belief that individuals can change and improve. Did you know that this concept is rooted in the idea that justice should be accessible to all, regardless of wealth or status? Public defenders are government-appointed lawyers who represent individuals who can't afford to hire private counsel in criminal cases. This right is now considered fundamental in many countries, but it took centuries of legal development, activism, and Supreme Court rulings to make it a reality. In ancient Rome, for instance, the concept of a public defender emerged in the late Republic, around 100 BCE. At that time, the Roman government appointed a defensor civitatis to protect the rights of the people. This role evolved into the modern public defender system. Did you know that slave quarters were a unique architectural feature of plantations in the southern United States? These structures, built to house enslaved people, were typically small, one-room dwellings with minimal amenities. While the exact design of slave quarters varied from region to region, they often shared common features like a single room, a dirt floor, and a small window or two. These humble dwellings were home to generations of enslaved people who labored on the plantations for the benefit of their owners. As we explore this important part of our nation's history, it's crucial to remember the hardships and injustices faced by those who lived in these quarters. Let's continue to learn from the past and work towards a more equitable future.
Slave pens, also known as slave jails, were institutions where enslaved people were held before being sold at auction. These pens were often located in busy areas, such as near docks or markets, to maximize exposure and profit. The conditions in these pens were inhumane, with enslaved people crammed together in small, unsanitary cells. They were often forced to sleep on the floor, with little to no protection from the elements. The history of slave pens is a stark reminder of the horrors of the slave trade and the resilience of those who endured it. It's essential to remember and learn from this dark chapter in history to ensure it never happens again.
This is a part of global history that is brutal and intricate, involving the capture, transport, and sale of human beings, primarily from Africa, to be used as forced labor in Europe, the Americas, the Middle East, and parts of Asia. Slave traders played a central role in building systems of racial capitalism, colonization, and empire. So, let's break it down. 1. Ancient slave trading before 1400s. In Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, and Rome, slavery was common. People were captured and sold as slaves, and the practice continued for centuries. 2. Trans-Saharan slave trade, 1500s-1800s. This trade route connected North and West Africa with the Mediterranean, and millions of people were sold into slavery. 3. Atlantic slave trade, 1441 to 1867. This was the largest slave trade in history, with over 12 million Africans transported to the Americas. 4. Indian Ocean slave trade, 1500s-1900s. This trade route connected East Africa with the Indian Ocean, and millions of people were enslaved. 5. Arab slave trade, 1600s-1900s. This trade route connected East Africa with the Middle East, and millions of people were enslaved. Remember, this is just a brief overview of a complex and tragic part of history. It's essential to learn from the past to create a better future.
This intriguing legal concept has its roots in ancient Roman law, where it was known as the Lex Cornelia de Sodalices. This law established a time limit for bringing legal action against a person, which was a significant development in the legal system. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the statute of limitations took on a new form in the United States. It was introduced as a way to balance the rights of individuals against the power of the state. This concept has evolved over time, and today, it plays a crucial role in our legal system.
Also known as wardens of the peace, are a group of officers responsible for maintaining law and order in a specific geographical area. Their role dates back to the early 19th century, when they were first established in England and Wales. The primary responsibility of a warden was to prevent crime and maintain public order in their assigned district. They were often the first line of defense against criminal activity and played a crucial role in ensuring the safety of their communities. Over time, the role of wardens evolved and they became more involved in law enforcement, with some even carrying weapons to protect themselves and the public. These institutions, deeply tied to poverty, industrialization, and social control, played a significant role in Britain and Ireland. Workhouses were places where the poor, unemployed, or homeless were sent to live and work in exchange for basic necessities. While they were meant to provide support, they often became symbols of shame, harsh conditions, and forced labor. So, let's explore the origins of workhouses, starting with early poor relief in the pre-17th century. Before workhouses, charity was managed by churches, monasteries, and local authorities. These institutions provided food, clothing, and shelter to those in need. However, as industrialization and urbanization grew, the demand for charity increased, leading to the establishment of workhouses. These institutions were designed to provide a disciplined environment where the poor could work to earn their keep. However, as we all know, history is never that simple, and workhouses often became symbols of oppression and exploitation. Thanks for joining us on this historical journey. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating historical insights. Until next time, keep exploring.